on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe.
Good evening. This is ATN Global News at 9. First, the headlines. Court grants Rivers PDP legal advisor permission. Kaduna NSCDC deploys 2,000 personnel. Tinubu orders mourn Onyekanwenu. Court to hear suit against Arik Airlines. Hamas chief Ismail killed in Iran. Case Daniel debunks divorce rumors. Favor Philly denied 100 million sport. $100-meter sport, I beg your pardon.
Focused on the fact today, only on ATN. From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today.
And now the news in detail. Port Harcourt Division of Federal High Court has ruled that the state chapter of the People's Democratic Party has the right to appoint legal counsel for themselves without interference from the National Legal Advisor of the party. This followed a suit brought before the presiding judge, Mohammed Obile, by the National Legal Advisor of the PDP, challenging the authority of the State Legal Advisor of the PDP in Rivers State to appoint legal representation in a case filed by the Boot Party seeking to declare the seats of Martin Ameole and 27 others vacant following their defection to the APC, which the PDP had applied to be joined. The Rivers State chapter of the PDP had appointed a lawyer, Joshua Musa San, to represent them, but the National Legal Advisor of the party, Kamaldeen Ajibade San, also appeared in court to represent the party as well. This argued that as a National Legal Advisor, he is saddled with the responsibility of defending the party and its candidates in court. He further objected to the appearance of Musa in court, saying that the state has no authority to appoint legal representation without the permission of the national body. In his ruling, however, Justice Obile held that Ajibade San has no authority to challenge the appointment of Joshua Musa and that the National Legal Advisor is hereby restrained from denying the State Legal Advisor the right to appoint legal representation. All objections filed by Ajibade were struck out and 100,000 cost was awarded against him. Cocoa farmer operating within the Abokim Waterfalls community and Abonita government-owned cocoa estate in a Thong local government area of Cross River State, Mr. Mbu Liku, has alleged that his business rival, Mr. Asun Jo, has a fair knowledge of the whereabouts of his 24-year-old worker, simply known as Mike. Liku also alleged that the government task force on cocoa operating within the Abonita cocoa estate, which had stormed the cocoa plantation, also had a hand in the disappearance of his worker. Liku disclosed that the task force had bundled 3 of his workers and dumped them in the Ikom area police command police cell. Liku now wants both of his business rivals, Mr. Jo and the task force, to produce his workers. Reacting to the allegations, Mr. Asun Jo said that they saw 2 of their boys in their cocoa farm and they arrested them and handed them over to the police for stealing their cocoa. Noting that they are living at Okundi, but they caught them right on their farm and handed them over to the police. Commander of Ikom Area Command, Mr. Akanonu Frank, also confirmed that the 2 were in their custody. Analysts have emphasized on the need for grassroots engagement as it concerns the distribution of palliatives across the country. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Blowout, a social-political analyst, Magnus Edo, stated that grassroots engagement is key for safety of distribution, as it may
palliative. I must say that it is good for all stakeholders to be involved. If all stakeholders are involved, that community where this incident happened, have they actually been given any palliative whatsoever before talking of other
Meanwhile, Magnus Elo advanced on proper planning and logistics. With palliatives belonging to Nigerian Union of Journalists and Cross River State Council.
Echo that is not very strong. For instance, the driver was saying that even though that the boot opened and some started dropping on the road, that means the vehicle was not roadworthy to start with. Because if it is a moving vehicle, I don't think the statement talked about blocking the road. No. And some palliative depends on the distance. They attach police officers to.
There was a pandemonium in Oji, Owerri North local government area of Imo State when unknown gunmen killed a young man. This incident occurred barely 24 hours after 4 police officers at a point of sale operator were killed in Irete, Owerri West local government area of the state. It was gathered that the gunmen who shot sporadically into the air while heading to Owerri Enugu Road also bombed the Imo State Government Waste Management Agency vehicle at Nkwo Oji Market in Owerri North local government area. Eyewitness accounts revealed that the gunmen were shouting, "Stay in your homes, don't come out during the sit at home if you value your lives." The traders and buyers were said to have scampered for safety, abandoning their wares and vehicles as they ran for their lives. Reacting, the State Police Public Relations Officer Henry Okoye stressed that police operatives had been massively deployed to Oji, adding that the situation is under control and that the miscreants responsible for the attacks will certainly be brought to book. Ebonyi State Governor Francis Nwifuru has urged the youths of the state to shun the planned nationwide hunger protest slated for August 1. Nwifuru made the call on Wednesday at the Stakeholders Youth Engagement Summit held at the Christian Ecumenical Center in Abakaliki. The governor said his administration is committed to creating an enabling environment that allows the youths to thrive. He explains that his administration recognizes the importance of youth development and is working tirelessly to provide opportunities for education, skills acquisition, and entrepreneurship. He said in his words, and I quote, "I am aware of the planned protests against hunger and bad governance scheduled to take place across the country, including Ebonyi State. While I understand the reasons and concerns that have led to this call to action, I strongly urge you all to refrain from participating in this protest." Nwifuru informed the youths that most of the youth empowerment beneficiaries who got 2 million naira each are doing very well in their respective businesses, noting that another branch of the youths will soon get their money. The Independent National Electoral Commission has promised journalists unimpeded access and enhanced security for voters and personnel in the Edo and Ondo governorship elections. INEC has scheduled the Edo State governorship election for September 21, 2024 and the Ondo State election for November 16, 2024. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu said this during INEC's quarterly consultative meeting with the media executives on Wednesday in Abuja. He urged journalists to continue combating fake news ahead of the elections. Yakubu stated that political campaigns by the parties and candidates are actively ongoing in both Edo and Ondo states. He expressed concerns over a recent incident in Edo State that led to the death of a security personnel, but noted that no further incident had been reported since then. In his comments, the president of Nigerian Union of Journalists, Chris Siguzo, reaffirmed the media's commitment to supporting INEC in maintaining electoral integrity. He emphasized that the media will continue to collaborate with INEC to promote a transparent, accountable, democratic process that reflects the people's will. He also highlighted that the partnership between INEC and the media is essential as Nigeria approaches the off-season gubernatorial elections in Edo and Ondo states. Ondo State Police Command on Wednesday said it had begun an investigation into the death of 54-year-old Olakunbi Adene, who was found dead in a residence located at Oda Road area of Akure, the state capital. ATN gathered that the deceased lifeless body was found on her bed in a pool of blood on Sunday, indicating that she was murdered. It was also learned that the deceased a few days earlier entertained guests when she celebrated her 54th birthday. According to a source in the area, the deceased, who had 2 kids, was hale and hearty with no sign of illness before her untimely death. Speaking on the incident, the deceased husband, Dele Adene, said that the news of his wife's demise came as a rude shock, but he expressed disappointment in the police for not arresting anybody yet in connection with the incident. Similarly, the deceased daughter, Tejumade, said it was one of her uncles that called on telephone to inform her about what had happened to her mother. When contacted on the phone, the State Police Public Relations Officer, SP Fumilayo Udulami, confirmed the incident, as she said the investigation by the command into the case had commenced and the remains of the deceased had been deposited in a mortuary in Akure. Management of the University of Lagos had postponed its ongoing 2023/2024 second semester examinations due to the planned nationwide protest from Thursday to August 10. The head of the communication unit of the institution, Mrs. Adejoke Alagba Ibrahim, disclosed this in a statement issued in Lagos on Wednesday. Alagba Ibrahim said all examinations scheduled for Thursday and Friday had been postponed to further notice. She said the management had put in place precautionary measures to ensure the safety, security and well-being of staff on the 3 campuses of the university. Lagos State government has deployed men of the Rapid Response Squad to the streets ahead of the nationwide hunger and hardship protest due to commence on August 1. The heavy presence of police officers at the RRS and task force were seen on streets around the state on Wednesday as they engaged in patrol exercises. ATN gathered that the operation took off from Alausa Ikeja through the old toll gate Ojota Ogudu and Yanaworo to the 3rd mainland bridge axis. Some officers were also seen marching through Lekki streets to the Lekki tollgate area. This is as the Secretary of the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, on Wednesday called on Nigerians to embark on the planned nationwide protest amid the economic crisis in the land. Akume made the call during the press briefing in Abuja, said the President Bola Tinubu's administration is making concerted efforts to solve the myriads of challenges confronting the nation. Former Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Ekiti State University at Ado-Ekiti, Professor Olorunfemi Alaufe, who was kidnapped on 9 July, has been found dead. According to sources, the body of the 79-year-old retired university teacher was discovered in a shallow grave in a remote area. However, it remains unclear whether his death was due to natural causes related to his age or if he was murdered by his kidnappers. The retired Don was kidnapped from his house alongside his security guard on 9 July over 3 weeks ago. And driven away in his car, which the police said they'd recovered days after the kidnap incident. Sources said that the kidnappers initially demanded a 50 million naira ransom and later remained incommunicado. The Commissioner of Police, Ekiti State Command, Adeniran Akinwale, who confirmed Olaife's death, said yes, the professor had been found dead and we are doing everything possible to exhume the body for burial. However, he said the command has arrested many people and that the circumstances surrounding the incident look suspicious, like an insider involvement. Ogun State High Court on Wednesday ordered the sponsors of the End Bad Governance in Nigeria protest to limit their activities to 4 locations in the state. The court also restricted the time frame for the protest to be between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., granting an application moved by the State Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice Oluwashino Ogungbade San, Justice Oluboyega Ogunfor directed that all protests under the End Bad Governance in Nigeria slogan or any other slogan from August 1, 2024 to August 10, 2024 must be limited in place and time. The judge prohibited the protesters from protesting anywhere in the state except at the MKO Stadium, Abeokuta, at the Comprehensive High School, Ota, Remo Divisional High School, Shagamu, and Dipodina Stadium, Ijebu-Ode. The Attorney General explained that the 4 locations are across the 4 divisions of the state and in 3 senatorial districts, allowing protesters in those vicinities to conveniently participate in the protest under adequate protection and without infringing on the rights of any non-protesting member of the public. The judge in his ruling also prohibited any protest from taking place outside the hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The judge further directed the Commissioner of Police in Ogun State to enforce the order and ensure that the protests are held only in specific locations and during the period stated in the order. The judge declared that the order would last for 7 days and ordered the state to serve the application of notice within that period. Justice Oluboyega shortened the time for the protesters to respond to the application to 72 hours. The case was adjourned to 6 August 2024. Kano State Independent Electoral Commission has set November 30 for the conduct of local government elections in the state, promising to conduct free and fair elections without external influences. Releasing the election guidelines, the chairman of the commission, Professor Sani Lawan, said the notification of the election will be issued on November 15. Nomination forms will be available from October 1 to October 11 with submission to the forms due by October 18, 2024. He noted that the screening of candidates would take place from October 18 to October 20, while the list of eligible candidates will be released on October 24. The elections will follow thereafter. Professor Malum Fashi noted that the elections were being conducted under or following the Supreme Court judgment granting financial autonomy to local governments, and the conduct will be in accordance with the law. Professor Malum Fashi also announced that candidates are barred from placing their posters on places of worship, schools and government buildings. Anyone violating these rules will be punished. The Commission expects all 19 parties to participate, noting the importance of security. He added that the Commission will work closely with security agencies to ensure peaceful election. Kano, with 44 local governments and over 7 million voters, presents significant security challenges, particularly in light of current economic difficulties. The Commission will recruit about 13,000 ad hoc staff to manage 11,000 polling units. Following the approval of the new national minimum wage by President Bola Tinubu, the Kano State Advisory Committee on the new national minimum wage has been inaugurated to strategize the rollout of the 70,000 as agreed with organized labor. The inauguration ceremony, conducted by the Deputy Governor Aminu Gwazo on behalf of the Kano State Governor, emphasized the committee's responsibility to deliver a practical plan for immediate implementation. Gwazo noted that the welfare of the workers is a top priority for the administration. He further assured the workers of Kano State of the government's commitment to their well-being. We understand the importance of a fair wage in improving the quality of life for our workers and their families. This new wage will not only uplift individuals' livelihood, but will also contribute significantly to the economic growth of our state. The committee, chaired by Alhaji Usman Mohammed, Special Advisor to the Governor on State Affairs and the former head of the Kano State Civil Service, has been given 3 weeks to submit its recommendations. The members of the committee include prominent state officials and representatives from various sectors. Alhaji Usman Bala Mohammed expressed his gratitude for the trust placed in the committee. We are dedicated to formulating a plan that is both effective and sustainable. Our goal is to ensure that the new minimum wage benefits all workers and supports the broader objectives of the state government. The committee's recommendations will play a crucial role in guiding the state's actions. As the deadline approaches, there is anticipation and hope among the workers of the Kano State for the positive changes that the new minimum wage promises to bring. Bauchi State Government has announced plans to embark on a comprehensive rehabilitation of the National Youth Service Corps camp in Wailo village in Ganjua local government area of the state. This decision was disclosed by State Governor Senator Bala Mohammed during the facility tour to assess the condition of the camp. The governor's visit revealed the dire state of the camp, which has been in despair for some time. The governor expressed concern over the inadequate facilities and infrastructure which had hindered the smooth operation of the NYC program in the state. He emphasized the importance of the NYC scheme in promoting national unity and development. The rehabilitation of the camp is crucial in providing a conducive environment for corps members to undergo their orientation and training. The governor said that the rehabilitation of the camp is part of the state government's effort to improve the welfare of the corps members and support the NYC scheme, as well as the youth development and national service. On her part, the state coordinator of the scheme, Mrs. Ifkatu Daniel, in a thankful remark, opined that the rehabilitation of the camp will not only benefit corps members but also contribute to the economic growth of the local community, as the project will create jobs, stimulate local economic activity and enhance the overall development of the area. Federal Capital Territory Administrations has placed economic and security values on the 25-kilometer Yebu-Kwaita Road as well as the 11-kilometer Yangoji-Sukuku Ebo Road, both in the Kwali Area Council of the FCT. Speaking with newsmen during the inspection exercise, the Honorable Minister of the FCT, Barrister Yusuf Wike, said the pace and quality of the work on the road project is commendable, stressing that the roads, when completed, will not only provide access to the farmlands in the rural areas, but will also improve transportation in remote parts of the FCT, thereby increasing agricultural produce.
Providing infrastructure in the city, it must also provide the same infrastructure. I see. Today, this is the second road we are visiting from what the area council is concerned. Where we are standing now is 11-kilometer road. I can imagine the impact this road will have when it is completed in December this year. Where we are coming from now, you can see the functionality. And you can tell the people are happy. That's the essence of the deed. That is why we are saying that if we should be patient with the government, while the government is doing everything to reduce the level of hunger, government is also providing basic infrastructure that will improve the economy of our country. So we're happy. It's to tell some Nigerians who do not understand and who just have not had the opportunity to ask what is happening. If you come to FCT, you appreciate the fact that FCT.
Speaking on security, the minister said security is a duty of everybody in the community, while government provides logistics to help its actions, commending the local vigilante group who had dedicated themselves in the fight for and security.
Confronting the kidnappers and rescuing these 5 of these victims from Kuje area. I commend them and well, promised them they are going to give them all the necessary logistic support. In fact, for one open vehicle, which we are going to give them by grace of God today, and we are giving them some finances to see that they support themselves. That is what is required, and I thank them so much. And to the general population of the city, we will not rest on our oars. We will continue to do the best to make sure they sleep with their eyes closed. That is our promise to them. Because because security is one of the key areas of the whole agenda. It cannot be completely eliminated in one day. It is a continuous process. So we should have hope in that we will satisfy them.
Gombe State Governor Inuwa Yahaya said on Tuesday that his administration cannot pay the new minimum wage of 70,000 naira. Mr. Yahaya, who chairs the Northern Governors Forum, spoke at a meeting with labor leaders, civil society organizations and traders association at the government house in Gombe ahead of the planned nationwide protest. He said Gombe State's limited allocation from the federal account makes it impossible to implement the increased wage package. This is despite the fact that the federal allocation to Gombe and all the other states had increased since President Bola Tinubu announced the removal of petrol subsidies. He said even the previous minimum wage of 30,000 naira was a struggle for many state governments to implement. The governor also said the Gombe State has yet to receive the promised 20 trucks of rice from the federal government intended to alleviate the sufferings of the citizens. Mr. Yaya also said that the state received only 2 billion naira, contrary to the 5 billion naira palliative allegedly given to states by the federal government. The governor attributed last year's fuel subsidy removal, which exacerbated Nigerian hardship, to be a decision initiated by former President Muhammadu Buhari and announced by President Bola Tinubu. Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps Plateau Command says it will treat anyone wielding a weapon as a criminal during the planned nationwide protest. NSCDC Commandant in the state, Mr. Alexander Barunde, stated this while addressing officers and men of the command on Wednesday in Jos. Barunde, who expressed the rights of citizens to protest against government policies, however, called on the organizers to not to give room for mischief makers to unleash anarchy in society. He warned that anyone caught hiding under the disguise of protest to loot or destroy critical national and private assets will not be spared. Barunde, however, charged officers and men of the corps to respect the rule of law, adhere to ethical standards and observe human dignity while engaging the protests. No fewer than 2,000 personnel of Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps NSCDC Kaduna State Command have been deployed to protect lives, properties and critical assets during the planned nationwide protests. The State Commandant of the Corps, Mrs. Lucy Fakoya, disclosed this while addressing officers and men of the command in Kaduna on Wednesday. Fakoya explained that divisional officers have already been briefed on the deployment of personnel to protect their assets against all forms of damage by hoodlums. She said the state command will not tolerate the breakdown of law and order because any person would have his or herself to blame. Fakoya called on community heads to caution their words against unruly behavior during the protest. You are watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after this break. Please stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
Driver, why you just dey jack us up and down like this now?
I hope nobody carry belle.
Why you ask oh?
Because this road wey you dey see so, e no guarantee safe delivery o.
We just dey vote for government, but we not get good governance.
At all.
Road so e no dey, light o usai, the infrastructure nko e come turn to be forbidden fruit for the city.
Corruption, fuel everything. Hello?
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mrs. Ayeni. I am calling from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs.
Okay. Okay, I've been expecting your call.
Madam, remove this your phone from loudspeaker.
No vex, now my phone be like that. Hello?
Are you there?
I hear, I'm hearing you.
Yes. We saw a copy of your invoice for computers, printers, and laptops.
Yes. Are you working on them now?
Ma, the prices you quoted are way too high now.
Madam, sorry oh, please don't cost.
We found the laptop you said is 1.8 million naira for 600,000 naira.
Hello?
Now my body network there.
I can't hear you. Network is bad.
Madam, we can hear you. Continue.
Hello, I can't hear you. We call you back.
Their behavior not good now.
Madam, now this kind behavior they kill our country. You suppose do things differently. Make Nigeria for better.
Corruption not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akin Fadehi Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu has extended his profound condolences to the family of the late singer and songwriter, actor, journalist, activist and politician, Mrs. Onyeka Onwenu. Tinubu conveyed his condolences through a statement signed by his special advisor on media and publicity, Ajuri Ngalale. Onwenu, aged 72, was said to have died on Tuesday night at Reddington Hospital in Lagos after collapsing at the birthday party of the CEO of Emzor Pharmaceuticals, Mrs. Stella Okoli, where she had performed. Senate has appealed to protesters to grant the federal government more time. Senate has appealed to protesters to grant the federal government more time for the ongoing reforms to yield the desired results and meet their demands. The appeal came after the Senate reconvened from its closed-door session, which lasted for less than 2 hours on Wednesday. President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, stated that the government has started to meet the demands of the protesters, including the minimum wage, student loans, and sales of crude oil refineries. He maintained that the Senate is willing to legislate on all matters that will bring succor to Nigerians. Senate on Wednesday passed a bill to increase the percentage of ways and means loans the Central Bank of Nigeria can give to the federal government. The upper chamber of the Nigerian legislature raised the credit facility obtainable by the federal government from the Apex Bank from 5% to 10%. Known as the Ways and Means, the Apex Bank offers short-term financing to the federal government to cover its budget shortfalls. To do this, the Senate amended the CBN Act to increase the total CBN advances to the federal government. The bill for the amendment of the CBN Act was considered at plenary on Wednesday when it was read for the first time. The leader of the Senate, Opeyemi Bamidele, said the executive bill read for the first time on Wednesday is to enable the federal government to meet its immediate and future obligations owing to the government's increasing needs for funds to finance the budget deficits and other expenses. He explained that the loans will enable the provision of immediate funds to address budget shortfalls and finance essentials government expenditures, as well as help maintain financial market stability by preventing government default on its obligation. Bamidele said the loans, when injected into the economy, will stimulate economic activity, potentially create jobs, and enable the government to support critical sectors like agriculture, healthcare, and infrastructure development. He added that the loans will lower the government's borrowing costs by providing cheaper funds than the traditional borrowing method. President Bola Tinubu is expected to sign the amended bill into law. Analysts have decried disappointment concerning the conduct of politicians in the National Assembly. Speaking at Atlantic Television Network Open Conversation, a political analyst, Lekon Ojo, expressed sympathy, stating that the attitude of the members of the Executive Council may as well mar the president or the president's repetition come 2027.
Because a lot of persons around him are trying to create political enmity for him, awaiting 2027. The Senate rule, that office was occupied.
Meanwhile, Churchill Wali advised on the need for proper resolution of issues with the APC.
But what I'm not talking about is that a member that was elected chief whip in the House was removed because of a letter written by his own party chairman. Not that he is playing anti-party.
This is coming as the senator representing Borno South at the National Assembly, Ali Ndume, has rejected a new office allocated to him by the Senate Services Committee. According to parliamentary practice, Ndume is expected to move to another office following his sack as the whip of the Senate. Some opposition lawmakers in the House of Representatives staged a walkout from the Green Chamber on Wednesday over the increment of the controversial Central Bank of Nigeria Ways and Means lending to the federal government. The protest happened during the debate on the amendment of Section 38 of the CBN Act to increase the borrowing level from 5% to 10%. The lawmakers want the threshold to be reduced from the current 5% to 2%. ATN recalled that former President Muhammadu Buhari was criticized for taking over 3 trillion naira from CBN under the Ways and Means policy, which threw the country into debt crisis. During the debate, Kingsley Chinda, the minority leader, said instead of increasing the threshold, it should be decreased. However, 2 members of the ruling All Progressives Congress APC, Ayokunle Ishaka and Ahmed Wase, moved that the threshold should be kept at 10%. Wase later moved an amendment as it was adopted by the House following the voice vote. Angered by the voice vote, some lawmakers staged a walkout in protest. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, on Wednesday called on Nigerians not to embark on the planned nationwide protests amidst the economic crisis in the land. Akume made the call during a press briefing in Abuja on the eve of the planned demonstrations, the 36 states of Federation and the FCT. According to him, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration is making concerted efforts to solve the myriad of challenges confronting the nation. Akume said the government is wary of the dangers associated with protests that are vulnerable to being hijacked by bandits, insurgents and other criminals. Rather, we request that dialogue should be advanced and we remain open to such. He expressed optimism that with the several interventions by the federal government, the hardships Nigerians were experiencing would be a thing of the past. During the briefing, the SGF urged the masses to embark on their legitimate business rather than participate in the demonstrations against the current administration. Analysts have decried dissatisfaction by the move of the current administration on the suspension of import duties, adding that the majority of Nigerians are below the average standard of living. Speaking on Atlantic Television network program Society Watch, a public affairs analyst Oduyemi Wealth emphasized on the need to resuscitate indigenous manufacturing industries across the country, as well as to improve in its sensitization.
Government to the plight of populace or Nigerians, you know, it could be regarded as a segmented response. Why, for those who probably are not in that space into importing or exporting, as the case may be, it's a win-win for them.
In light of the economic review, Mr. Oduyemi stated that the move will as well mount production pressures across the country.
That this will mount pressure on people who are in the manufacturing industry, who also produces some of these imported items, because if you look at that story, implying certain consumable essentials, taxes are, being reviewed, or a tax holiday has been given.
Recall that federal government, in its bid to cushion the effect of the inflationary trend in Nigeria, has through the Nigeria Customs Service suspended import duties on taxes on some items to make them more affordable in Nigeria. Federal government has activated National Emergency Operations Center to coordinate responses and provide timely support to victims of floods and public health concerns. The Director General, National Emergency Management Agency, Mrs. Dubaida Umar, disclosed this at a National Emergency Coordination Forum held in Abuja. ATN learned that the forum brought together stakeholders to review the current flood situation and strengthen mitigation and response strategies across Nigeria. Speaking at the event, Dubaida said the center would share information, provide timely support to affected areas, and collate and analyze flood incident data. She added that the center would ensure that emergency responses were as accurate as possible. The NEMA boss expressed the hope that the steps, together with those of the other stakeholders, will reduce to the barest minimum the impact of flooding. She highlighted the agency's ongoing efforts to address the predicted 2024 flood disaster by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency and the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency. According to her, 20 states and 50 local government areas had already been affected by the flooding. She emphasized the need for public awareness and proper waste management to mitigate the impact of flood. The Baida says the workshop would awaken NEMA to take more proactive measures to save the lives of the citizens and adequately respond in areas that had been affected. Airstrikes by Nigerian Air Force aircraft destroyed 70 illegal refineries and 80 overhead tanks in the past 3 months. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Abubakar, said this on Wednesday, July 31, when he played host to the National Coordinator of Missiles New Guard Security and Consulting Limited. Major General Jamil Saham retired at the NAF headquarters in Abuja. Speaking on the current state of oil production in Nigeria, Air Marshal Abubakar emphasized the severe negative impact of oil theft and the pipeline vandalism on Nigeria's oil output, which he said had led to a decline in crude oil production and revenue losses to the country. Air Marshal Abubakar said it was in response to these that the President Bola Tinubu mandated the military to eradicate the scourge. He said over the past year, the NAF has conducted 463 sorties in 560 flight hours and expended 175,000 liters of Jet A1 fuel in air operations over the Niger Delta region. The air chief said in both during these efforts, the NAV had deployed newly acquired platforms on the region to enable the NAV to cover more ground as it liaises with other security agencies in integrating the activities of these criminals in the region. He congratulated General Saham and his team on their appointment, adding that the team's exceptional military background and their synergy with security agencies is addressing the challenges of crude oil theft will add bite to the ongoing efforts. Nigerian Educational Loan Fund has said it would commence disbursement of the sum of 850 million naira to tertiary institution students. The managing director of the fund, Akintunde Sowa, made this known during a press briefing in Abuja on Wednesday. According to Akintunde, this is apart from the over 1.7 billion naira that has been disbursed to about 20,000 students. Earlier, Soya reveals that the fund had disbursed institutional fees to 20,000 students through their institution. He also noted that a total of 260,000 loans, including institutional fees and upkeep, have been approved. No fewer than 1.2 million students are expected to benefit from the Cardinal program of President Bola Tinubu's administration. ATN recalled that President Bola Tinubu had approved 35 billion naira for the takeoff of the scheme after signing the law backing the scheme on April 3rd. Now on business news. High Court of Federal Capital Territory on Wednesday fixed August 5 for a hearing in a suit seeking to stop the seizure of the aircraft and other properties belonging to Arik Air Limited over $2.5 million indebtedness. The Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, brought the motion on notice to the High Court sequel to Monday's seizure of some ARIC aircraft and other assets by Atlas Petroleum International Limited and sponsors. AMCON is seeking to stop the continued seizure of the ARIC Airlines properties on the grounds that the airline was already under another receivership following its indebtedness to Zenith Bank PLC to the tune of 37 billion naira. However, Justice Ihime Nwosu could not proceed with the hearing and determination of the AMCON suit against the seizure of the aircraft following the discovery that the deputy sheriff was not served with the motion as required by the law. Deputy sheriffs are officials of High Court who enforce and execute judgment of court as stipulated by the law. Justice Nwosu subsequently fixed August 5 and 12 for hearing on the AMCON's motion. Speaking with journalists shortly after the proceeding, the senior advocate of Nigeria and counsel to Atlas Petroleum Limited, Sebastian Honorable, confirmed that AMCON filed the motion seeking to stop the enforcement of the order against ARIC Airline over its huge debt at Atlas Petroleum. The senior lawyer observes that while his clients were in the process of enforcement, AMCON surprisingly came to intervene that ARIC Air is under receivership when they were aware of the matter from the Lagos High Court to the Supreme Court, and then the judgments were given against ARIC. ATN gathered that a former judge of the FCT High Court, now in Court of Appeal, Justice Olukayode Adeniyi, had on June 26, 2024 issued an order directing the attachment and sale of all movable properties of the ARIC Air Limited found within the jurisdiction of the court. Nigerian government has assured its citizens that 40,000 naira per 50-kilogram bag of rice is already available across locations in the country. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris made this known while reacting to questions by journalists during a press briefing on Wednesday in Abuja. The minister explained that rice has been distributed across designated locations pending commencement of sales to Nigerians. According to him, the government is still unveiling modalities to ensure that the sale of the rice will not be hijacked by a few. He assured that the government would provide Nigerians with details of the centers across the country where they can get the product at the set cost. The minister's clarification comes amid growing concerns that the product has yet to be available in Nigerian markets for 40,000 naira per bag. ATN recalled that the government on Monday announced that the price of a bag of rice has been reduced to 50% to 40,000 naira per 50 kg bag, while appealing to citizens to shun the August 1, 2024 protests. Federal government paid over 633.3 billion naira on electricity subsidy in the first quarter of 2024, findings have shown. According to Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission quarterly report, the sum represented a 150.5% increase from 252.7 billion naira in the fourth quarter of 2023. The sum paid in the first 3 months of the year is higher than 628 billion naira paid from January to December 2023. A breakdown of the 633 billion naira shows that subsidy gulped 36.2 billion naira in the first quarter, 135.2 billion naira in the second quarter, 204.6 billion naira in the third quarter, and 252.7 billion naira in the fourth quarter of 2023. The electricity market regulator blamed the increase on the government's policies to harmonize exchange rates, as well as the absence of cost-reflective tariffs across all electricity distribution companies. On revenue collection, the report said the DISCOs recorded a shortfall as the total revenue in the period was 291.6 billion naira out of the 368.6 billion naira billed to customers. Also, the total energy received by all DISCOs was 7,171.9 gigawatts, while the energy billed to end-use customers was 5,769.5, translating into an overall billing efficiency of 80.4%. Ikeja Discos collected the highest revenue of 75.8 billion naira in the period, followed by Eco Disco at 48.7 billion naira, while Yola Disco collected the least revenue at 5.4 billion naira. Also, of the total revenue collected in the period, Abuja Disco collected 48.6 billion naira, Ibadan Disco collected 30.3 billion naira, Benin Disco collected 22.4 billion naira, Enugu Disco collected 21.2 billion naira, but Harcourt Disco collected 20.3 billion naira. Others include Kano Disco at 13.6 billion naira, Just Disco collected 13.2 billion naira, Kaduna Disco collected 9.6 billion naira. Up next is international tidbits. Hamas said Wednesday its political leader Ismail Haniyeh was killed in an Israeli strike in Iran, where he was attending the swearing-in of the new president, and vowed the act will not go unanswered. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei to threaten harsh punishment for Haniyeh's killing, saying Israel declined to comment in the Tehran strike, which came after it struck the Hezbollah stronghold in On Tuesday, targeting a senior commander of the Lebanese militant group, it blamed for a deadly weekend rocket strike on the Israeli-annexed Golan Heights. Hamas political bureau member Musa Abu Mazak said the group would retaliate the assassination of leader Ismail Haniyeh. Iran's Revolutionary Guards also announced the death, saying Haniyeh's residence in Tehran was hit and he was killed along with a bodyguard. Iranian media said the strike that killed Haniyeh took place at around 2 a.m. targeting the special residence for war veterans in North Tehran, where he was staying. Haniyeh traveled to Tehran to attend Tuesday's swearing-in of President Masoud Pezeshkian on Wednesday, where he vowed to make Israeli regret Haniyeh's killing. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan on Wednesday condemned the assassination in Tehran of his close ally and brother Ismail Haniyeh, the political leader of Islamist Palestinian movement Hamas. Erdogan emphasized that the assassination mirrors previous attacks on Palestinian figures such as Sheikh Kamal Ahmed Yassin and Abdul Aziz al-Rantisi, asserting that Zionist barbarism will once again fail to achieve its goals. He called for a united stance for the Islamic world to end the oppression of Gaza, to reaffirm Turkey's commitment to supporting the establishment of a sovereign Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital. Erdogan concluded with a prayer for Haniyeh, extending condolences to his family and the Palestinian people. Turkey's foreign ministry had earlier denounced the attack as a shameful assassination. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said those responsible for the violence that left police officers injured in protests after a mass stabbing that left 3 children dead would face the full wrath of the law. Starmer said Southport, a small seaside town near Liverpool in northwestern England, was reading on Wednesday after clashes targeting a local mosque insulted the community as it briefs. The local police and ambulance service says 39 officers were injured, at least 8 seriously, after a large group believed to be supporters of the far-right English Defence League threw bricks at a local mosque and set cars on fire late on Tuesday. Around 100 people battled police in riot gear and lit fires. According to an AFP reporter at the scene, that's what happened. Now, the violence broke out shortly after a vigil was held in the town centre where hundreds fell silent in tribute to the victims of the mass stabbing at the Taylor Swift-themed event that also left 5 children and 2 adults critically injured. Police have said that they are not treating Monday's knife attack as terror-related, but have not released any details of suspected attacker other than that he is 17 years old and born in Welsh capital Cardiff. His parents were from Rwanda, according to the BBC. And now on entertainment news, veteran Nollywood actress Patience Uzoko said she's downcast and hurt by the news of the death of the music icon Onyeka Onwenu. Onwenu reportedly collapsed after performing at the 80th birthday party of Stella Okole, Chief Executive Officer of Emzo Pharmaceuticals, on Tuesday in Lagos. She was said to have been rushed to Renington Hospital, where she reportedly passed away. Reacting to Onwenu's death on Wednesday in Enugu, Ozoko described it as painful and hurting, noting that Onyeka is not just a colleague but a friend. Onwenu was born in 1952. She began her music career in the 1980s and released her debut album, For the Love of You, in 1981. Onwenu has also acted in several Nollywood movies and won numerous awards for her content, music and film. In addition to her entertainment career, Onwenu has also been involved in politics. She was appointed as the chairperson of the Imo State Council for Art and Culture in 2013 and later became the Director General of the National Center for Women's Development in 2016. Legendary Fuji musician Adewale Ayuba on Wednesday mourned Onyeka Onwenu, Nigeria's music legend who died on Tuesday at the age of 72. Ayuba, in an interview with Newsman in Lagos, said Onwenu's immense contribution to the growth of the entertainment industry would always be revered. Also, Nigerian singer and activist Charles Oputa, popularly known as Charlie Boy, took to X, formerly Twitter, to pay tribute to late Onwenu. He wrote, "The Igbo nation mourns the loss of this iconic figure whose impact transcended the entertainment industry." Similarly, Afrobeat musician Femi Kuti expressed shock at the death of Onwenu. Nigerian Galala singer Daddy Shoki, with a display of the deceased picture on his Instagram page, wrote, "RIP, great legend Onyeka Onwenu." Afrobeat musician Kiss Daniel has debunked the breakup rumors with his wife. ATN reports that the singer's marriage was rumored to have crashed after he was caught with another woman in his studio. Amid the breakup rumors, Kiss Daniel, in a post on his official page, requested a refund of all his expenses. However, reacting to the controversies in a social media post on Wednesday, Kiss Daniel sent internet in-laws on another journey to confusion as he shared pictures of him and his wife. The singer, who seems to be promoting one of his songs, featured his wife in the picture. And now in sports news. Super Falcons of Nigeria bowed out of the women's football event at 2024 Olympic Games following a 3-1 defeat to Japan. Japan settled down quickly into game, pinning Nigeria back. Goalkeeper Chiamaka Nadozie made a superb save to deny the Japanese in 7th minute. Japan continued their dominance with Osinachi Ohale making a vital block 9 minutes later. The pressure paid off for the Asian champions, with Chelsea forward Maika Hamano handing her team the lead in the 22nd minute. Mina Tanaka doubled the advantage 10 minutes later. The Super Falcons fought back with PSG new signing Jennifer Echegidi pulling a goal back 3 minutes before the break. Hannah Kitagawa, however, restored Japan's 2-goal cushion in first half stoppage time with a sublime free kick. The Super Falcons dominated possession in the second half, with the Japanese sitting back and trying to hit back on the counter. Japan were awarded a penalty in the 52 minutes after Rashida Ajibade, who was adjudged to have pulled an opponent inside the box. The decision was, however, rescinded by the center referee after the VAR review. Nigeria finished bottom of Group C with 0 points from 3 games. Sports Writers Association of Nigeria has appealed to protesters to be mindful of mostly sports infrastructure across the country, as any form of the destruction will further create a needless deficit. Making the call on Wednesday in a statement by the national president, Isaiah Benjamin Swan urged Nigerians, mostly youths and sports personalities, to tour the path of peace and dialogue instead of engaging in violent protests regarding the challenges facing the country. The call is coming on the heels of the planned protest by some Nigerians in parts of Nigeria beginning on 1st of August 2024. Benjamin, in a statement which was signed on his behalf by the Association Secretary General Ikenna Okonkwo, said while citizens have a right to protest, such should be done peacefully. Swan also admonished leaders at all levels to, in line with global standards, use legislative means to initiate sustainable policies that will loosen tight ends and clear bureaucratic bottlenecks which had hampered sports development in the country. He asked that Nigeria as a developing nation be made a fortress for talent discovery and development because of the abundance of human capital resources that abound in each of its nooks and crannies. Rwandan Premier League champions APRFC have announced the signing of Nigerian duo Godwin Odibo and Chidebere Nwobodo. Odibo, winger linked up with APR from Nigeria National League outfit Sports in Lagos. Nwobodo joins the multiple Rwandan League champions from Nigeria Premier Football League champions Rangers. The midfielder captain Antelopes to win the NPFL title last season. The duo's arrival increased the number of Nigerians at the club of 3, with forward Victor Mbama already a key member of the squad. APR will compete with the CAF Champions League next season. Nigerian sprinter Favour Phili has said she will not be competing in the 100-meter race at the ongoing Olympics in Paris due to administrative failures by the Athletic Federation of Nigeria and the Nigerian Olympic Committee. While expressing her frustration in a series of tweets, Phili questioned the trustworthiness of both organizations and called for accountability from those responsible for her lost opportunity. The LSU track and field alumni hopes to be entered in the 200-meter event. Despite qualifying for the event, Phili disclosed that the officials did not enter her, marking a repeat of the previous Olympics Tokyo 2020. Phili was entered for 100-meter, 200-meter, 400-meter, 100 relay after securing her place in the women's 200-meter event at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. The 21-year-old, who tweeted around 10 p.m., was one of the 10 Nigerian athletes declared ineligible for the Olympics by the Athletics Integrity Unit because they were not tested rigorously enough in the run-up to Tokyo 2020. And that's the global news for tonight. But before we go, a quick look at the major stories. Court grants Rivers PDP legal advisor permission. Kaduna NSCDC deploys 2,000 personnel. Tinubu, others mourn Onyeka Onwenu. Court to hear suit against Arik Airlines. Hamas chief Ismail killed in Iran. Case Daniel debunks the boss rumors. Favour Phili denied 100-meter sport. I am Enidoye Jackson. Thank you for watching. Remember to follow us on our social media platforms on X at Atlantic TV Net, on Facebook and Instagram, on Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, on Instagram at Atlantic TV Network 1. Peace and unity and the pathways to progress. Have a very good evening.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on